My name is Chad Hendricks. I'm a musician, conductor and educator from Cape Town, South Africa. So much. I mean, firstly, my initial exposure was church, I must be honest, but I was privileged to go to a school where they offered music, where they offered instrument teaching and so on, so I could do that. But what it actually was through that interaction at school, I got certain opportunities. I got to audition for the Drakensberg Boys Choir, as an example. I didn't end up going because as an 11-year-old boy, going to a boarding school on the other side of the country was a little bit intimidating. But those kinds of opportunities and those kinds of exposures is really the thing that sort of lit the flame that there might be a possibility to actually have a career in music. I think with young people in general, and I'm speaking as a young person and also someone who was younger, but I think it's about finding a vehicle to express yourself and to find yourself. And creative arts is one of those things. It's the tool of expression. And it's something that you've got to hone, it's something you've got to practice, it's something that you've got to work on. But it's something that brings a kind of reward that you won't get anywhere else because it's personal rewards. It's something that you've put your time and efforts into, and not only that, but you realize that you are expressing yourself in bigger, better, more truer ways. And so it's paramount, really, in my opinion, that creative arts is taught to everybody, not just school kids. I wish they could teach it in some companies. Sure, well let's use maybe sports as an example, because sports is very big in school. And it's a way to unify people, it's a way to create a community of support. But it's also, I think a lot of parents would like their kids to become sportsmen. The percentage of people who do sports at school versus the percentage of people who become professional sportsmen is very small. But what comes from that activity is understanding health, understanding fitness. Likewise with music, it's the same thing. Whether you become a musician full-time or professionally or not, you are learning things like discipline, you are learning things like resilience, you are learning about putting yourself out there on a stage in front of hundreds of people, 2 people maybe even. That requires some courage. So you're building courage, you're building your creative brain, that's going. So all of these things in my personal life, I've realized have helped me now in my adult life. I happen to also be a professional musician, but without having those goals to achieve, like getting better at music, that principle carries through in life. And so that's why it's important. I think the first thing is to develop self-confidence in your dreams and aspirations. I think that sometimes keeps us from truly moving towards our goals. So that firstly. Secondly, work hard for your dreams and for your ambitions and what you want to work towards. And in so doing, remain prepared, stay prepared, be prepared for the opportunities. The magic of the world that we live in is that at any moment your life can change, and it's about being prepared for that. So if you have got ambitions to become a concert pianist all around the world, tomorrow's performance may be the one that the audience member is the person that can make that happen for you. So be prepared, never scared, and believe in yourself first and foremost. Work hard, make use of your support systems, but also be informed. Inform yourself about where you can go, which organizations are there to help you, which institutions are there to help you, where you can go study, where you can go take this dream further. So in short, that. In my particular case, I have to stand in front of a multitude of people, which is not something that I thought I would be doing in terms of my personality. I'm quite an introvert, as much as what people don't believe that. But I have to stand in front of 100, 200, sometimes 300 people. With that, you connect with people, you unify, and you engage in an opportunity to grow something together with an outcome. And I think that's beneficial to everybody. It gives fulfillment to everybody, which is part of what I love. Obviously, I like moving my body, and there's a certain expression and feeling that I get and experience when I conduct that I don't get when I play necessarily. It's a different experience. And so for me personally, that's what I love. But it's the connection with people. It's the fact that I get to suggest a gesture or suggest something through a gesture, and that the person on the other side understands that, digests it, and communicates that exact thing. So it's the communication, it's the unity, it's the teamwork aspect that really motivates me to keep pushing, but also that brings that fulfillment in when I'm working. That's a tricky one. I think it depends on a few factors. The big thing that I've come to realize, having worked in the industry now for a little bit, is that because of the lack of support, it actually filters through even to sort of legislation and regulatory bodies for musicians and things like that. So at that extent, there are things that are severely lacking. So the infrastructure then for musicians and artists and creatives to be able to fall into that is, I can't say non-existent, but it's not strong enough for us to build and progress. At the same time, it is again important to equip yourself with the necessary knowledge. Music, just like every other thing, when you take it or you decide to do it as a career, you've got to figure out the things about budgeting and invoicing, and so you've got to also adapt into those sort of business aspects of it in order to have the creative and the artistic side work effectively. Because an artist that is doing great work without the stability, nothing's going to happen. So I think it's about understanding, basic structures of business, because we do essentially, as musicians, as artists, as creatives, we do essentially become our own business managers. We've got to brand ourselves. And so we've got to learn how to do that, and we've got to learn, how to present ourselves in not only the best way, but in the most authentic way and the most real way, so that that will help us. We also we live in a technological world where social media is everywhere. That's also an example of where business, you might not like putting yourself out there, but it's a necessity in terms of business, because that's how you get bums on seats. That's how you get interest. That's how you get a following. That's how you develop a sustainable support base that will take you further into your career. I think in terms of supporting the arts, I think it's a two-pronged sort of idea. Supporting the arts, maybe, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the term, because that might mean that it's a one-way thing, but it really isn't. It's not only about supporting the musician who's performing, but it's about the audience going there and getting that personal fulfillment, getting those things that music offers, the expression, the heartache, the pain, the happiness, the joy, that everything music can and does allow and show. That's what the audience, that's why the audience needs to go. Not so that they can pay money to support the person on the stage, but so that they can begin to interact with the content, with the principles, with the social commentaries on what's going on, on this is the thing about life, where you hear a piece of music that's written by a composer because he's lost his wife or he's lost a close friend. You can and do hear that, and you feel that, and when you go and sit in an audience, that becomes your story, that becomes your experience, and you then realize and feel that same pain that the composer felt, because of how it impacts your life and how it falls in, or how it fits into your life. And so that's why. Yes, to support the musicians and to make sure that they can thrive and grow, but more importantly, to make sure that they can continue to give the audience those things that we all as people need to experience and to feel and to contemplate and to to grapple with. So that's why. I think my vision and dream would be that it becomes a subject that people feel is not only important but necessary. Whether they take it up until grade 9, whether the kids stop in grade 9, or whether they choose to continue. Because of all the principles that you learn and that it carries, but more importantly, it allows for the industry itself to grow. It then means that there's opportunities for musicians. It then opens up job possibilities and different kinds of job potentials within the industry. So I really would just like to see the industry essentially thriving and musicians and entertainers and creative artists thriving, because we put the majority of our lives behind the choices that we make in this particular path, and we need to have the support, but we also need to have the understanding and the collaboration maybe between people who support us and listen to us and the people who we essentially also make the art for. So my vision and what I'd like to be part of moving forward is making music the thing that is there for everyone. Exposure is the most important thing, and if in any way possible, just like this now, if we can continue that exposure and opportunity and possibility, then I will be happy with my artistic intentions, should I say.